Hello. Goodness, I haven't done a trans video in so long, like a long form trans video. Thank you for y'all's patience who've been kind of waiting for this. I do 1 minute, round 1 minute transit videos regularly on my Instagram. I also post them on YouTube. But for an in-depth transit video, it's been a while. So there's so much to talk about. That's why this video is existing. Where to begin? So let's begin with the most practical stuff. At the making of this video, Mercury just went retrograde. Today, the 14th of October, is the first full day that Mercury is retrograde. So on a practical level, this is, as always, upgrade, update, backup, data, usually phones, cars, that communication devices in general, and or daily tools and whatnot. That's what we need to really focus on and make sure that we're if it's time to upgrade, just upgrade it, update, etc. That's usually a key way to be able to avoid challenges. And another thing is misunderstanding. So we just want to make sure that we're seeking to communicate as clearly as possible what we mean and to be really empathetic. There's a bit of a challenge with Mars retrograde as well as Mercury retrograde right now of being able to be patient enough to start to consider, like, wait a second, what do they mean by that? Do they understand what I mean when I say these words? Are we utilizing the same definitions for words and whatnot? It's important to be really patient with these things, especially during this time. So that's all really good to keep in mind. And now let's get into the depth. So in the Instagram/YouTube little transit video I made the other day, I talked about how excited I am with, I don't think I've ever been this excited for a Mercury retrograde. You know, in general, people are like, oh God, Mercury's retrograde. And I never, every transit has its gifts and its challenges. There's no such thing as a good or a bad energy. So I'm never like, oh God, no. But I think for this one, I'm actively excited. I think because Mercury is retrograde in Scorpio, opposite Uranus and Taurus, which is also retrograde. So this is such an incredible opportunity, let alone the Mars retrograde, which we'll get to in a second. It's such an incredible opportunity to go deep into our psyches. I wish I could remember your name who posted a couple days ago. I'm so sorry I didn't. But like I said, I really loved how you put it, where you said that you're so excited about coming through on the other side, like who you're going to be, how you're going to be. And that's what I'm really looking forward to also. Again, every transit is a transformative journey, but to have Mercury retrograde in Scorpio and also to have Mars retrograde in Aries, this is such an incredible time to be able to transform and to change ourselves and to grow. So there's so much there. But let's get back into that. I think first we need to focus on the challenge. Let's wrap that up and then we'll go into the challenge, because there's some challenges that we need to focus on. But I think as per the Mercury retrograde opposite Uranus, the most important thing is to get to our core. Who are we as people? What do we need versus what do we want? What gifts do we have that we need to empower and help grow and blossom even further? So much of what we experience in life is internal, is we are our own best friends or worst enemies. And I think that this is a great, oh goodness, this reminded me of another thing that actually to keep in mind for the retrograde. Okay, we'll get back to that also. Pin. I think another thing is with delays. I've been meaning to make this video for like 2 days now. I went to go start up my camera and it was literally full of video game footage that I shot with my friends. And it's like, okay, so I'm not going to delete it. Take my time. Okay, I'll update it, and of course, or I'll back it up. I'll put it on my hard drive, and it took like an hour and a half. So I think that's a key thing, and there's a lot of other examples, but we're all experiencing frustration. Well, not necessarily the frustration part, but we're all experiencing delays. There's a delay in the sense of Mercury, of communications, making sure that we're getting information that we need to be able to make the next step, and getting information across to other people. And there's also potential delays with Mars of, can I act? Oh, I can't act yet. I'm waiting. And again, these things work in tandem. They work together. So wait until you have the right information before you can do the right action. Like the Noble Eightfold Path says in Buddhism. First, right view. That's another topic for another story. You can always Google that. But right intention or right thoughts and then right action. We have to go one step at a time to make sure that we're thoroughly in a positive intention to have a positive outcome. So I think something that's really good to keep in mind during this time is especially with Mars being retrograde. Mars rules Scorpio, so both of these retrogrades are happening at the same time, and they're really intricately linked. We have to keep in mind that it's not what we want. It's not what, how do I put this? It's not, we have to be patient, and we have to allow the universe, God, our higher self, cosmic consciousness, however you want to put it, all of the above, in my view. We have to allow what we can't control to fall into place. And we have to be patient, even with what we can guide. I don't even like to use the word control, because in my studies of astrological transits and whatnot and energies for the last 10 years, I've come to understand that we can definitely effectively guide our lives in incredible ways to be able to overcome traumas and challenges, and to be able to grow and empower ourselves and live brilliant, amazing lives, each one unique in its own kind of colors and flavors and experiences. But we don't control it. We don't control it. From personal experience, thinking, oh, astrology will help me be able to control my life. No. If anything, it's helped me to realize that, yes, we can guide effectively, but then there's that other side of God, of the rest of the universe that doesn't revolve around us, that is just also there. I always like to say, we are drops. Each one of us is a drop in the endless ocean of consciousness or God. And so we have to allow for those waves to guide our lives too, because we can't separate ourselves from the wave or, the overall ocean, and neither should we want to. But during time periods like this, it's very tempting to have the ego say, that's it, especially if we're angry or frustrated, or if our ego, maybe we're on a roll, that's another thing potentially, where our ego, for one reason or another, is seeking to assert its dominance on the universe. I'm saying it's happening now. It's like a temper tantrum. It's like a baby, a toddler, a terrible toddler saying, no. And I think, honestly, the reason I'm laughing is because it's so funny, and I do have empathy for these individuals, but it's so funny too, how during this time, those who, and for the next month, because we've got Mars retrograde for this next month, we've had it for the last month. So actually, at the making of this video, we're pretty much halfway through Mars retrograde. And not only do we have the Mercury in Scorpio, again, Scorpio is ruled by Mars, so it highlights that Mars retrograde in Aries all the more so. Not to mention Mars rules Aries as well as Scorpio. So that Mars in Aries transit is incredibly powerful. So it's linked up. It's powerful in its own right, and Sun will enter Scorpio too in about 8 days, just over a week from making this video. So this is such an incredible time of energy for so many reasons, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But as per the temper tantrums, and especially actually for this next week, even before Sun goes into Scorpio, Sun is in Libra, exactly opposite Mars. So this is bringing to the attention, to our foreground of consciousness, all the more so, our egos. And either our egos are really healthy, and we've been working on them, and we understand that we need to cooperate with other people. We're working with the Libra side of this opposition, the Sun in Libra, of, okay, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to let other people do their parts. I'm only going to do my 50%. I'm not going to go overboard and try and do other people's 50%, whether it's a relationship or a conversation or whatever it might be. But I'm also not going to underperform. I'm going to do exactly my half, which is Libra balance, that middle way, as the Buddha says. So a lot of people are doing really good with this, yay, and a lot of people are not. And again, everyone learns eventually in this lifetime or another, and it can be really funny though, again, with pure empathy, but still laughing, because I've been there, and also it's just funny how with some people are not doing so well with the Sun in Libra opposite the Mars in Aries. Never any judgment. Again, it's all a journey. It's all consciousness. We're all seeking to grow. But it is really funny when, somebody is so obviously projecting onto other people. They're doing the shadow Sun in Libra of, it's not me, it's you. It's you the problem. And the universe, I think at this time, it just has instant karma right there. Just, if we are antagonistic or we lash out at others, that Mars, it always comes back to us regardless. That's just the law of cause and effect in the universe. If we say mean things, people are going to be angry and say mean things back to us, or if not eventually or right away, then eventually. But with Mars in Aries retrograde, it's like, I keep thinking of this metaphor of, it's like you're trying to punch somebody and then you punch yourself in the back of the head. Like, that's the kind of energy that we're dealing with here. Mars in Aries is immediate karma, and especially with the Sun opposite, it's just relationships are either being made or broken through that. And we're realizing as people, okay, this is a proper way to use my ego, and this is the improper way. And of course, naturally, we want to have healthy relationships. We want to have relationships with people, as human beings. Even the most Aquarian among us, who's very solitary and individual, needs people, incredibly so. In some ways, even all the more so because of being an Aquarius. But in any case, so I think that's really good to keep in mind is breathe. During every transit, during every Mercury retrograde, especially Mars retrograde in Aries and Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, just breathe. If things delay, relax. If you get angry, ask yourself if you're really angry about what's going on right in front of you, or if it's a deeper sense. I think a key part of all of this is we have a T-square of Jupiter and Saturn and Capricorn, which have been retrograde up until recently, up until 2 weeks ago for Saturn, and then up about 5 weeks ago or so, around there, for Jupiter. And so for basically all of the summer and the late part of spring, we've had Jupiter and Saturn and Capricorn retrograde. We're still in the shadow period for, I think, both of those. I'm not positive about Jupiter, but regardless, what this means is a lot of the frustration that we're all experiencing is the progress that we wanted for this year at the beginning of this year, even over the last couple years, because Saturn is actually wrapping up its sojourn in its transit through Capricorn, the region of space known as Capricorn. It began it, I think, was it 2018, the very beginning of 2018, like late 2017, something like that, excuse me. We've had goals that we've been working towards, all of us as individuals, with Saturn and Capricorn. Well, I mean, if we've been working with it, we've had goals. Hopefully we've had goals. Or the universe has been setting goals for us if we haven't set goals for ourselves. Either way, it's going to happen. So we've had goals that we've been working towards for the last couple of years. 2020 comes around. Jupiter is in Capricorn. We have this other energy that's joined up with Saturn. Yes, with the discipline that we've been cultivating, the goals that we've been setting and reaching and setting more and reaching, and we've been climbing the mountain, the Capricorn journey, especially with Saturn in Capricorn, it being it ruling Capricorn. So we have that at play too. We've been moving forward, and then 2020 happens, and it's been supremely challenging. But like I've said throughout the transits all year, this is also really good for us. I need to do a video, I've been meaning to, about this specifically. But to kind of summarize, this is all building up for a 2021 that is really wonderful. Yes, there will always be challenges. Yes, there will always be trials. Yes, there will always be blessings. And I think that's good to keep in mind too for this year, what blessings have existed and what silver linings, what positive opportunities and potentials have existed throughout this year. And because of this year moving forward, that couldn't have existed without the difficulties that we faced. But Jupiter and Saturn and Cap is setting the foundation for this next year. So that's something that's really good to look forward to. Let's rewind a little bit because that's for another video. With Mars retrograde in Aries and Mercury retrograde, all the more so, with that square of Jupiter and Saturn of the Aries and the Capricorn, we have this tug of war of, I want to make progress. I have goals. I need to do it. If I don't do it, I'll die. That's the kind of vibe that we need to avoid. How do we avoid? We breathe. And we remind ourselves we do not control anything. We can guide effectively always, and that's all we really need. We don't need to control the river to be able to navigate the river effectively enough so that we don't get caught on the bank and stuck or drown or end up going a different way to the sea, which we always end up to anyways, but in a positive sense, not just like, oh, surrender to whatever my fate will be. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we can guide ourselves effectively if we just go with the flow. And when we realize there's a fork in the river coming up. I can't get over there. It's too fast. I'm not meant to go over there. And that's the key thing, I think, to be able to get through this time. For this last month with Mars retrograde, all sorts of stuff have happened that have been really challenging for me personally. And honestly, I've enjoyed it because I just have seen okay, this is the test. This is it. This is Mars retrograde in Aries. It's so obvious. I like this. This is funny. I'm going to enjoy this. And as a result, I haven't jumped the gun. I've had so many opportunities. We all have had so many opportunities. We will continue to have so many opportunities. We always will have so many infinite opportunities to fuck shit up. And especially with like energies like Aries and Mars retrograde in Aries, to act too soon, to say something, that's the kind of vibe that we need to avoid by breathing and reminding ourselves that we can guide our lives effectively, but we can never control it. And that's okay. That's perfectly okay. We can get everything we need, and as long as what we want is good for us and it's in our higher interest and technically is what we need also, then we'll get that. It may not be right this second. Having a temper tantrum is not going to change that at all. It's going to make things worse. It'll make it last even longer. So we need to be patient. We need to just go with the flow and recognize what we can do and do it when the time is right. I think that covers that part really well. Again, we'll get to the Jupiter and Saturn going into Aquarius for next year in another video that I'll probably be making over the next couple months. You know, I think one thing I want to say is, again, I don't usually like to dip into the political spectrum because this is about psychology, this channel. And despite me having very strong political views in the sense that I like to think and consider really critically who I vote for, etc. I'm not going to go into candidates. I'm not going to go in that. I just think that we're all facing, regardless of who we're going to vote for, we're all facing a really polarizing divide. And I think it's really important that we remember that we're human beings, all of us, that there is no one answer. And again, I don't even want to necessarily give credence I have critical bones to pick with everyone, with both sides. I mean, I'm an independent myself. So, but again, without going into specifics or any of that, because I don't feel like that's really my job, and I don't really want that to be my job. I feel that what we have to remember is to be able to listen to other people and to also just let other people vote exactly as they're going to vote. Let them make their own decision. If you need to have a conversation about it and they're willing, great. It's good to not have arguing conversations. It's good to have debates, discussions, civil consideration of different points. That's important. But I think especially during this time with Mercury and Mars retrograde, there's such a temptation to go to war. And how could you vote for that person? It's the end of the world if that person becomes president. You know, I'm talking about obviously here in the States, but I mean around the world, a lot of people are watching because that's a whole other topic of the US. But the world will go on regardless. You know, maybe it'll be a little bit better, a little bit worse off, but the world will go on. And I think it's really tempting, again, in general, with this Mars in particular, retrograde, but especially with Mercury there too, to go to war, metaphorically, also literally. Thankfully, that does not seem to be on the table anywhere. Beautiful, as far as I knew anyways, in the world. But certainly in my neck of the woods, it does not on the table. Great. Let's just remember that we're all human beings. It's okay to disagree. It's okay. It's important to not play us versus them, unless you're playing Us Versus Them by Pink Floyd, and that's a great song. It's really important. It's actually great to listen to that song. I think I'm going to listen to it after this video. Recognize that we're all human beings. First and foremost, we're family members, whether we're directly, blood related or not. And I mean, from a genetics point of view, we're all blood related in a sense, as human beings are not that genetically diverse one to the other. And we're all, at the end of the day, genetically human. It doesn't matter if it's this color skin or that feature or that whatever. We're all human beings. And that, or political views or religious views, whatever, let's look at the big picture, okay? Because first of all, that's the right thing to do. It's the most accurate thing to do. It helps alleviate a lot of unnecessary suffering in the world. And helps alleviate the us versus them, or your side versus my side. No, it's bullshit. There are no sides in nature. There are no sides in God's eyes. We're all here. We're all fulfilling our roles. And that's, again, whole other topic. But long story short, I think that's something that's really important to keep in mind during this time, is no matter how intensely you're going to vote or you think the political situation is, and quite frankly, I am very much in that. I am very intently going to vote, and I'm very interested in the political situation. I really hope it goes a certain way. At the end of the day, We're all human beings. And that's the most important thing. I feel like I'm kind of a sellout if I don't say who I'm voting for. I'm going to say this. I am going to vote for Biden. He was not my first political choice. Sanders was. But yes. So, but regardless, I don't care if you're a Trump supporter. Great. I'm happy that you're watching this video. I'm happy that you're here on this planet with me. Beautiful. Is that so hard? Can we not do that as people in everyday life? Can we not just appreciate that we have different points of view and that we all still live in society and we all still have gifts to offer and we can still be friends and we can still, share different thoughts and perspectives? I think that's something that's really important during any time. And I think especially moving forward with 2021, those who engage in that kind of energy, of unity, of friendship, of tolerance, of different points of view, but still being able to be friends and be cool, we're going to be rewarded with Jupiter and Saturn going into Aquarius, because we'll have new opportunities that people who are really closed off won't have. And the opportunities will be in, sharing different ideas and different perspectives and opportunities to learn and to grow. And again, not just from a political point of view, but having just open-mindedness and tolerance in general. If we cultivate that now, we're going to be able to reap so much more down the line. But also, it's the right thing to do. Let's not demonize each other. There is no us versus them. Not really. We might think it in our mental reality, but it's not really there. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything. I feel like there's one last thing. As per Mercury retrograde opposite Uranus, this is like a steam cleaning. I think actually the combination of Mars retrograde and the Mercury this is like a steam cleaning for our psyches. And especially with Mercury being opposite Uranus, we can experience incredible healing during this time. We can get psychically I had a dream last night where I don't want to get into it too much because it's kind of like personal life stuff, and I don't like to share that either here because not too much, that's not fair to people I might mention who aren't necessarily in the best light. But a family member's major decision I had a dream of last night, and I'm not even connected to that family member. So it was like, whoa, that's really cool. So, and there was a really deep message with that too. And I woke up feeling great. It was so awesome. So, and that was before I even realized that it was like, I had psychically tapped into something that was going to happen. So that was super cool. So this is just an incredible time, as always, to meditate. I've been meditating more than ever recently. It's been incredible. I've been reading a book. Hence why I've been referencing Buddhist teachings a lot. I've always been a Buddhist. I'm a spiritual person regardless. I'm not a religious person. But The Heart of the Buddhist Teaching by Thich Nhat Hanh is incredible. I have it an audiobook because I'm an ENFP. So I love to have people talk to me. It's great. It's a great way for me to get information. Anyways, that's a wonderful book. Meditation is incredible, especially during this time. We can actually reshape our brains. I learned this recently. Scientifically, it's been proven. And we have so much more to discover scientifically of the powers of meditation with our brains. It's incredible in intention and in consciousness. What's already been proven is that those who have about 26,000 hours of logged meditation time. And again, it's just a little bit each day. You don't have to make it into this big thing. We probably have that much time sleeping or probably even way more than that, actually, thinking about it over the course of our lifetime. Probably way more. Anyways, that's actually a form of meditation in its own right. Anyways, so meditation, we're actually shifting the brain waves to the theta waves, ideally, at least the alpha waves of being a little bit more spacey. Theta is the really deep intention, really deep consciousness, and then underneath that is delta, and that's deep sleep. But theta waves we also experience going into deep sleep in the time period right before. And it's just really incredible. Scientifically, it's been proven that by meditating, we are able to minimize pain. We're able to minimize our ego in a healthy sense, because ego is not a bad thing. It allows our inner child to have fun and to enjoy life and to express itself. And that's we're all, even as we grow older on the outside, we are all inner children on the inside. So it's a beautiful way to stay in connection with that youthful innocence and purity of intention and love and selflessness. And also, again, going back to the pain thing, we're able to minimize actually our body's response to physical pain, I'm sure emotional pain, mental pain, etc. Meditation, we're only just beginning to discover scientifically the incredible benefits that it brings to us as human beings, and the ability to clarify our consciousness, clarify our intentions, be able to do away with the clutter of the mind and other distractions within the body and within the heart. So I really recommend that you meditate. I mean, in general, sure, but especially with Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, because it being opposite Uranus and Taurus, oh my God, the incredible potential to be able to, in waking consciousness, let alone if you're focused and you're meditating each day, to go deep and to get to some key insights that change your life for forever. That kind of potential will not exist a year from now. I mean, in general, we can always access that, but this is like a portal opening and saying, here's a free level up, and like each day you get a free level up. This is a time period of really throughout the rest of October with Mercury retrograde, but also throughout November as well, as we have Mercury will go back into Scorpio. But especially with retrograde, whenever an energy goes retrograde, it's more introverted, it's more internal. So we have this incredible opportunity that does not exist every year. I always like to say with astrological transits, there's no need to freak out about it. There's no need, there's no deadline in a sense of, oh God, you missed it. No, you can now not grow in the ways that you need to grow. No, it's not like that. But at the same time, we do need to recognize that it's not going to last for forever. So we need to show up and do our best each day and make the most of it and enjoy it. There's no need to cling or freak out or oh, am I making the most of it? No. Meditation in general, I mean, life in general, but also meditation, it's supposed to go with the flow. It's supposed to be relaxed. It's supposed to be a natural part of our life that helps us to grow, and we just do our best each day. So, and there's new insights to discover each day. So again, I can't say it enough. This is such an incredible time in general, especially if you're meditating. Listen to your dreams, go deep into your subconscious, heal what needs to be healed, empower what needs to be empowered. I think something that we've learned with this year is that uncertainty always exists. But I think we've also learned with this year that there's an incredible opportunity to reinvent ourselves. And this window of the next 2 weeks especially, and November is kind of carrying on from there, we can reinvent ourselves in really powerful ways that will reverberate for the rest of our lives. So enjoy, have fun with it. Yeah. Again, anything that's really troubling you, deep pains or traumas, we can heal it. We can bring it to light. Pace yourself too. Pace yourself. This is a process. We're only in the first full day of it, pace yourself. And for those Geminis like myself or Virgos also who are ruled by Mercury, take a couple days to get used to it. I was a little today, as much as I'm enjoying this energy, it was a little, then I took a nap, that helped. But yeah, this is such an incredible opportunity. As always, I'm doing readings. Feel free to get in contact with me in the About section. You can set up a reading with me. And yeah, infinite love to you, my friends. Namaste. Peace. Have fun.